Imagine this. You're legally married to a U.S. citizen. You've filed everything honestly. But when you walk into your green card interview, an officer is already assuming your marriage might be fake, not because you lied, not because you broke a rule, but because you and your spouse don't live at the same address. In 2026, that one detail can completely change your marriage green card case. Today, I'm breaking down why U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is aggressively targeting couples who live apart, what changed since 2025, and exactly how to protect yourself if this applies to you. Stay until the end, because one small mistake here can delay your case for years, or worse. The new reality in 2026. Here's the blunt truth about marriage green cards in 2026. Being married is not enough anymore. Immigration officers are operating under one core assumption: married couples live together. If you don't, your application is no longer routine. It becomes a high-scrutiny fraud review case. Immigration attorneys across the U.S. are reporting the same thing. Extra evidence requests, more interviews, home visits, social media monitoring, and far more aggressive questioning. This is the most intense marriage-based enforcement we've seen in years. What actually changed since 2025? This crackdown didn't happen overnight. Throughout 2025, USCIS quietly rolled out major procedural changes that completely reshaped marriage cases. Here are the big ones you must know. First, form rules tightened. As of 2026, USCIS only accepts the January 20, 2025 editions of Form I-485, Form I-129F. Even using a version that's just weeks old can trigger an automatic rejection. Second, medical exams are now mandatory up front. Your Form I-693 must be submitted with your I-485. Sending it later can kill your application before it even starts. Third, processing times exploded. I-130s now average 9.5 to 13 months. Total timelines often stretch 14+ months. Any RFE adds another 2 to 4 months. And that's for clean cases. If USCIS flags your marriage, expect 18 to 24 months, sometimes more. The fraud numbers. You haven't heard. USCIS isn't hiding its priorities. They recently reported 29,000 plus fraud referrals, 19,300 marriage cases investigated, 65% flagged as potential fraud. Now, whether that number reflects real fraud or aggressive enforcement is debatable. But here's what matters. USCIS believes marriage fraud is widespread, and couples who live apart are at the top of their list. That's why officers now show up unannounced at homes, check social media timelines, compare photos for location inconsistencies, cross-check addresses across government databases. This is no longer just paperwork review. Does living apart automatically mean denial? No, and this part is critical. Living apart does not automatically disqualify you. Many legitimate couples live separately because of jobs in different cities, military service, caring for parents, education, financial constraints. But here's the problem. USCIS doesn't care about your reason unless you prove it with evidence. In 2026, the burden is entirely on you. If you don't live together, you must outperform every other couple on evidence. What USCIS actually cares about in 2026. Let me be very clear. Some evidence matters far more than others. Top-tier evidence, most important, financial entanglement, joint bank accounts with real activity, shared credit cards with usage history, insurance policies listing each other, joint investments or retirement accounts. One-time transfers don't count. USCIS wants patterns over time. Joint tax returns. Filing jointly is one of the strongest proofs. Lying here carries serious penalties. USCIS knows that. Children together, birth certificates, school records, medical records, mid-tier evidence, communication logs, travel history together, lowest-tier evidence, still useful but weak, photos, affidavits from friends, social media posts. Photos alone will not save your case in 2026. Interview reality check. If you're filing in 2026, expect an interview. The COVID interview waivers are gone. And these interviews are far more personal now. Officers may ask about sleeping arrangements, daily routines, intimate details, recent arguments, financial responsibilities, your spouse's family, future plans. Here's the trap most couples fall into: over-rehearsed answers. Identical phrasing between spouses raises red flags. Real couples remember things differently, tell stories from different angles, occasionally disagree on small details. Authenticity beats perfection. The bigger enforcement climate. This marriage crackdown isn't happening in isolation. In early 2026, enhanced security reviews affect applicants from 19 countries. Interviews increasingly lead to detentions, even for immediate relatives. Attorneys are now advising clients to bring bail bond contacts to USCIS interviews that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. This reflects broader priorities under Department of Homeland Security, where fraud prevention now outweighs family reunification in practice. What you should do right now. If this applies to you, here's the smart move. 1. Start documenting now, not later. 2. Strengthen joint finances immediately. 3. Seriously evaluate moving in together if possible. 4. Use only current form additions. 5. Submit medical exams up front. 6. Consult an immigration attorney before filing. 7. Never fabricate evidence. That ends cases permanently. Final reality check. Marriage green cards are still achievable. Approval rates remain 84 to 90%, but the process in 2026 is more adversarial, more suspicious, more document-driven than ever. USCIS isn't taking your word for anything. They only believe what you can prove. If your marriage is real, you can still win, but only if you treat this process with the seriousness it now demands. If this video helped you, like, subscribe, and share it, especially with couples planning to file in 2026. And if you want breakdowns like this on US, Canada, and Europe immigration changes, this channel is for you. I'll see you in the next one.